Hello and welcome back to another video. In this problem, we have the equation the square root of 2x plus 6 plus 4 is equal to x plus 3. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this square root on its own. So if we subtract 4 from both sides, these cancel and we get the square root of 2x plus 6 is equal to x plus 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So now, before we can continue, we have to get rid of this square root. How do you do that? Well, we can square it. Of course, if you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other. So we have the square root of 2x squared, which means these basically cancel out. We have 2x plus 6 is equal to x minus 1 squared, which we can do out like this so we can factor it. So we have 2x plus 6 is equal to, distributing out, we have x squared minus x minus another x is minus 2x. And finally, minus 1 times minus 1 is plus 1. Continuing on, subtract 2x from both sides, subtract 6 from both sides. On this side, we will have just 0 because everything cancels out. And on the other side, we have x squared minus 2x is minus 4x. And then plus 1 minus 6 is minus 5. So now we have to factor this out. So if 0 is equal to x, and then so we have x plus some number and x plus some number, right? And we know that these numbers have to multiply to negative 5. So if two numbers have to multiply to negative 5, one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative, right? If you have two positive numbers and you multiply them together, they're going to be positive. If you have two negatives multiplying by each other, like here, negative 1 times negative 1, the negatives cancel and you're left with positive 1. So one of them has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. And if we look at the factors of 5, right, we have to have two numbers that multiply to negative 5. Well, the only options are 1 and negative 5 and negative 1 and 5, right? 5 is a prime number, so its only factors are 1 in itself. And then your only choices from there are where to put the negative. And we know that they have to add to negative 4. They have to add to the middle term's coefficient. So 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. Negative 1 plus 5 is positive 4. We're looking for negative 4, so we're looking for we're looking for 1 and negative 5. So the positive 1 is 1, and the negative 1 is negative 5. Now, if we have this equation, what is the options for our solutions? Well, if we have a product of two things, if we have this times this is equal to 0, either this first thing, x plus 1, has to be equal to 0, or the second thing, x minus 5, has to be equal to 0. For two things to multiply to each other and equal 0, one of them has to be 0. So 6 times 0, that equals 0. 0 times 4, that equals 0. But if one of these isn't a 0, you're never going to get a 0. So now we have two equations which are going to solve for our two solutions. So for this one, subtract 1 from both sides to get x alone. We get x is equal to 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Add 5 to both sides over here. These cancel. We get x is equal to 0 plus 5, which is 5. And these are our two solutions. We're asked what is the solution set, so you have to write it in fancy set form. So our two options are negative 1 and 5, the curvy brackets, and this is C. As always, thank you for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.